Picture a woman who is like the exact opposite of how you want your daughter to turn out. She's got the caked on makeup, low cut top, mini skirt. She's really flirtatious with every single guy. Everything about her demeanor communicates the message that she is not difficult to sleep with, highly accessible, highly available for sex. In other words, she's really slutty. Now, consciously, most men know that this is not the kind of woman that you want to marry, and you'd be horrified if your daughter turned out like this. So the rational part of your brain says steer clear from this kind of woman. Yet for a lot of guys, there is this strange, undeniable appeal that a slutty woman has, and they can't help but pay attention to her. Now, as a high quality man, you're not going to act upon these feelings. You're smart enough to know that a woman like that is going to bring nothing but trouble to your life. Yet there is something bizarrely alluring and enticing about her. What the hell? Why is that? What's going on here? Why is it that in your real life, you only want to associate with women who are kind and intelligent, high quality women of dignity and sophistication? Yet when you log on to that adult site to do your nightly business, a woman who displays that highly accessible, available sexual attitude really turns you on. How can we explain this dichotomy, this cognitive dissonance? Why is it that our higher brain and our lower brain can't seem to agree on what's attractive? Now, if you are personally attracted to women who act and dress really slutty, and this worries you because it goes against the image that you have of yourself as somebody who should only pay attention to high quality women, don't stress. This doesn't mean that you're a low quality man or that you are destined to be with a low quality woman. It's just that those women have accidentally stumbled across and subsequently learned how to hack your biological response mechanisms. There is a weakness inside your biology that can be exploited by this kind of woman, and it gets triggered every time you see her. This is not some accident. This is something that evolution did positively select for, and it's normal. But I want to take the time to properly explain this, because hopefully when you understand why you have this weakness inside your brain, then you can be a lot more vigilant about your own responses, and you're not going to accidentally make decisions, working off impulses and instincts that rationally are going to harm you in the long run. Okay, let's quickly talk about sex and evolution. The reason that you think about sex so much, the reason that stroking your dick feels good, that pretty women look good, why orgasms feel good, the reason for all of that is because of reproduction. Now that we have birth control, you can have sex for, 1,000 different motivations. But biologically speaking, the reason why we have all this positive, pleasurable reinforcement whenever we do sexual activity is for the same reason that every other biological organism on the planet does. It's for the purpose of, incentivizing reproduction. As an individual, you will die, but if you have children, your genes will live on. That is what your genes are urging you to do. You're not some blank slate. You are hardwired to reproduce. That's what your genes are motivating you towards. Now, the majority of our evolution took place in caveman days. It didn't take place in the modern era. And in that time, if a woman actually wanted for her children to survive, she couldn't do it alone. She needed to be with a man. He's going to be providing the food. He's going to be building the shelter. He's going to be physically protecting them from, dangers and threats and predators and such. Typically, the explanation that evolutionary biologists give when explaining why women have a greater reluctance to have casual sex than men do is because there is a huge danger in getting pregnant and having children with a man who hasn't made any commitment to you. And there's no indication that he's going to stick around and help, because the children are way less likely to survive. What's more is that pregnancy and child rearing is going to take a massive toll on the woman's body, and it's going to reduce her desirability in the eyes of other men. There's less likelihood she's going to be able to find a partner in the future. So really, on the balance of it, casual sex with a man is a terrible idea for a woman. It's hugely risky. This is why women have that strong instinct to try and secure a commitment from a man before sleeping with him. That's the safe option. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. That's just how it is. As the gender that is more in demand, they get to set the terms and conditions under which sex is had. If all the women say commitment first, and without commitment there is no sex, well, then men are going to give the commitment. And that's basically what happened. After however many generations of this arrangement, men sort of adapted to this, and that became the primary method of having children, having sex, passing on your genes, is you find a woman, you make a commitment to her, you have sex, and you work together to raise the children. This commitment first methodology may have primarily come from women to begin with, but it was, adopted for by men, and evolution positively selected for men who are okay with this. And it's why we have strong paternal instincts. Men like to be fathers. They like to watch their children grow to be healthy and strong. They like to provide. They like to protect. All of that evolution positively selected for. We want to be good fathers, which is why the suggestion that men are ruthless hound dogs only interested in sex is ridiculous. It's insulting to the millions of fathers out there. But here's the thing. Even though the ultimate goal of evolution is to incentivize us to reproduce, and evolution was happy to endorse committed monogamy as the primary method for men to pass on their genes, it didn't make sense to completely remove all other possible strategies from our genealogy, because it's good to have some backup plans. We have other possible reproductive strategies sort of lingering in the background, and we have all of the corresponding reward mechanisms hardwired into our brains, into our biology, to incentivize those should the opportunity arise. Enter the really slutty woman who is highly available. She's up for sex. The man thinks, wow, this is different. I live in a world where women are highly protective of their honor. The only chance that I have for sex and to reproduce and pass on my genes is through committed monogamy. I mean, if that's the way that it has to be, that's the way that it has to be. But personally, I could actually foresee that it would be quite nice if I could just have sex with all of the women that I encounter. I mean, I'm not going to be able to provide for all of those children, but on the balance of it, I'm going to produce so many offspring that a large number of them are going to survive. And reproductively speaking, I'm going to be a bigger success than all those men who are just working to provide for 2 or 3 children. I'll have like 100. I mean, it can't be that way because women won't put up with it. They won't just let me have sex with them. If I want to reproduce, I have to, do the commitment. I have to do the monogamy. That's just how it is. But hold on. Who is this woman who's smiling at me, who's showing me all this skin, who's acting really flirtatious? Is she up for sex? Can I just have sex with her right now? This can't possibly be real. Is this an opportunity for me to reproduce without having to offer any kind of commitment? Usually the cost of producing offspring is massive to me. I have to put in years and years of effort. But look at this opportunity. I can have children with 0 effort, 0 commitment. In biological terms, this is the equivalent of working a minimum wage job and then suddenly winning the lottery. No effort, no obligation, and yet massive potential for me to pass on my genes. Amazing. God bless you, slutty woman. So do you see why you respond to this kind of woman? Why she's almost impossible to ignore? It's because evolution positively selected for you to always keep an eye out for this kind of amazing opportunity. Men who didn't recognize this kind of opportunity and didn't have instincts that told them to act upon it were therefore less likely to reproduce. But men who did have the genes that made them take notice of these opportunities and take advantage of them obviously had more children. They reproduced more often. That's what it means when we say that evolution positively selects for something. It means that those men who have the gene, shall we say, I know this is crude, but they have the gene for noticing a slutty woman and sleeping with her, he's more likely to reproduce. And so evolution positively selects for that gene. Evolution amplifies it, it makes it bigger and more powerful. And it's kind of the reason why we have a world that's filled with sex-obsessed men. The men who weren't obsessed with sex were way less likely to reproduce. And why would evolution select for that? That makes no sense. Anyone who was genuinely asexual, they kind of got bred out of the collective gene pool because they didn't have that strong reproductive gene. So you see, there's nothing to be ashamed of for noticing these kinds of opportunities, for even having a certain level of attraction to slutty women. That's completely normal. Your brain is hardwired to take notice of that opportunity. But we are self-aware enough now to know that reproductive success in a purely biological sense does not automatically equate to happiness. If you sleep around with lots of promiscuous women and you have lots of children, but you're not there to support them, you're not there to protect them, you're not committed to the mothers, that's not a recipe for a happy life. Some of your genes have that really selfish agenda that they just want you to reproduce, but you can't be a slave to your biological desires. You need to take charge and prioritize your own happiness on your terms. When you see a slutty woman, your body will respond. You'll be attracted to her. You'll be driven to take advantage of that opportunity, but try and resist. Casual sex with low quality women does not bring satisfaction or happiness. Any fleeting short-term pleasure that you obtain from the experience is going to be heavily outweighed by the long-term complications and suffering. I mean, you do you. Often this is just something you need to figure out for yourself. And me telling you that sex with a committed partner who loves you and cares about you is going to be a more meaningful experience is less likely to be, impacting your judgment than the really strong biological instincts you can feel inside your own body. I get that. Maybe this is a mistake you need to make a few times before you really figure out that it's not worth it. But just keep it in the back of your mind. The next time that you see some slutty woman and you're tempted to go after her and your instincts are just saying, yes, I've got to do this. Just keep in the back of your mind, there was that guy on YouTube who told you, hey man, you've got a biological weakness for this and that's what's being triggered. Might be something worth reconsidering. For some guys, it just takes one bad relationship and then they're traumatized, they don't want to date anymore. And that's really, really sad to me. It's one of the reasons I started this channel, because I heard there were guys giving up on dating and I was like, no, you just need to learn more about women and relationship skills. Anyway, I had this guy write me this email. I've got it as the pinned comment down below if you want to read what he wrote to me, but he absolutely fell for a girl, got his heart broken, and he's essentially too scared to try dating again. It's really, really sad. Anyway, it's the topic of my latest Patreon video. I give him full advice, what to do, how to proceed from here. If you want to check it out, go sign up to my Patreon. It's just $5 a month. It's tremendous value. I'd love to have you over there.